Changing Expectations, written by Kiki Slider. Chapter 15, Celine. I was looking down on Earth. Lifting up my foreleg, I saw the bleached white ruffles of a NASA spacesuit. Still a changeling, though. In fact, instead of the USA flag patch on my shoulder, I saw Chrysalis's horn flanked by insect wings. I tried to look behind me, but I had no way to spin around. As far as I could tell, I was tethered to the International Space Station, or a rocket. The tether itself was occasionally visible in the corner of my eyes when I tried to turn all the way around. Giving up, I looked at the view in front of me. Earth, a mural of blues, greens, whites, and yellows on the night side. Currently, Europe, Africa, and parts of Asia were visible before me. I could see in detail the beaches, mountains, and forest that accentuated the industrialized lands. On one spot, the snow-capped mountains of the Alps rose up to meet the heavens. On another, the sands of the Sahara stretched from sea to shining sea. Beneath it all, the glistening Mediterranean dominated the view. I sighed deeply as I watched night slowly creep across the world, the bright lights of the cities making themselves visible, replacing the white clouds. The blue and green jewel glistened as the sun became more and more hidden behind it. A band of bright green slowly slithered across the northern crown of the world, the Aurora Borealis. The bright greens gave way to near imperceptible reds at its peaks. Home. How long had it been since I last thought of home? How long had it been? I've been a changeling for months now. Almost 4, I think. There's Paris, Rome, Berlin, Istanbul. I'll never even see a photo of any city ever again. Not a human city, at least. The sun had set on the world, leaving it wholly in the dark. I floated there, watching the world slowly spin. Turning without me, life moved on even when mine ended. Is my family wondering where I am? I felt the tether behind me go taut. Earth in front of me had stopped its slow spin. What? Oh, fuck.
Kindred soul.
A voice was speaking to me, its words as clear as if they were right next to me. Worse yet, the voice was behind me. It was a woman's voice, I could tell, and I felt power drip from its every word.
Thy presence is known to us. Let us converse.
You are the moon presence? I managed to ask, trying my damnness to hide the quakes in my voice.
We art the moon made manifest. Eons past, we were revered, worshipped. What once was, shall be.
Every time the feminine voice spoke, the non-existent hairs on the back of my neck stood on edge. I had a new body, but in the dream world, I obeyed human instincts. Why talk to me?
Thy presence is known. We have felt thy touch upon the nightscape. We cannot recall the last time such hath occurred.
I remembered my dreams during my transformation. The Great Tapestry. Was that you, beneath?
Thou speaketh in riddles. Hath our own teachings gone unremembered? Thou art a devout soul the night, are thee not?
I remembered an old piece of wisdom from my life as a human. When someone asks if you're a god, say yes. I covet the company of night.
Thy words soothe our worries. On this, the longest night, we speak. For on the shortest, our return shall be made, and all the world shall know our rule.
I started to slowly spin around.
We have felt thy devoted castings from our distant prison. The bindings weaken. The seal's art breaking. Prepare for our arrival approaches.
I couldn't see Earth anymore. In front of me, my tether was abruptly frayed and snapped 20 feet out. There was no space station or space shuttle behind me, just the moon. Just the moon, which had turned to a dark blue. A black inkiness wrapped it in an unholy corona. Tendrils extended forth, slowly undulating and lashing out at stars, plucking them from the night sky and vanquishing them.
Kindred soul, make thy name known to us, that we may know thee in the waking world.
Chrysalis. If I accidentally piss this thing off, Bug Bomb's gonna have to take one for the team.
Chrysalis, a curious name for a pony. We art Nightmare Moon, rightful ruler of the night.
She thinks I'm a pony. Good. I shall count the days.
They will be the last thee ever count, for we bring night eternal.
Nightmare Moon, you need to work on your branding. Only psychopaths are gonna listen to creepy voices preaching the end of days. I was not foolish enough to say that out loud. The next day continued as normal. Better, in fact. I had slept better than I ever had since my transformation. I should really look into conversing with mysterious dark goddesses if it meant feeling this well rested. Morning lessons progressed well, with the exception of an especially pointed lesson on taking a grain of salt with what other people say. There was a lot of pointed looks, making me repeat your teachings over and over, and a thrown chair. I get the feeling that Chrysalis isn't happy with my choice of friends. Soon enough, I found myself walking to infiltrator class with Eucharis.
We will alternate days for learning magic and practicing flying, my prince. 2 days magic, 1 day flying.
Eucharis told me.
I can at least look forward to the flying lesson then.
You enjoy them that much, Prince Phasma? Many changelings view flying as merely getting from point A to point B.
I am not most changelings.
I retorted.
No, my prince, you are not. You're doing very well. Others do not see the effort you put in, but I do. Great expectations are put on you, and you strive to meet them.
I stared at him. This was out of character for, well, most changelings.
Thank you, Eucharis. I'm not sure if anyone has ever complimented me.
And that is a shame, my prince. Changelings do not recognize how dedicated our queen and prince are.
Don't think I don't know it was you who told Chrysalis about Tarsus, Eucharis. Snitching on me one day, kissing ass the next. You may be looking out for what you believe are my best interests, but you're certainly not honest. We stopped at the classroom.
At any rate, thank you for your company, Chamberlain. I appreciate your sincerity.
He gave me the fanged grin that all changelings have.
I am honored to be of such praise, my prince.
I parted ways with the Chamberlain and entered the class. Infiltrator Slight had yet to arrive, so I sat down in my seat. My inner circle moved to gather around me. However, with Pharynx still sitting next to me, we had to watch our words.
Prince Phasma, Tarsus was telling me that your first flight went great.
Lacewing started the conversation with. I nodded.
Yes, and I look forward to more flights. I do hope you can all join me when flying, but I'm sure you all have your own duties to worry about.
I caught the slight movements from Lacewing, Tarsus, Thorax, and Coxa when they each stole a glance at Pharynx, who was sitting within earshot. Thorax sighed.
I wish there was a way to fix that problem.
He wasn't talking about the flying lessons. I shook my head.
We must work within the constraints that bind us all. We could sit here all day talking about ifs. What's new with you all?
I was taking inventory of the gel stores the other day,
Coxa began.
and I swear by my brood nurse's chitin that I caught Bristletail making eyes at me.
Tarsus snorted.
Coxa, you're a nymph. No Ling is gonna make eyes at you.
Heh, you're just jealous that no one's giving you any attention.
Ladies, please.
I tried to get the conversation back in control.
You can paint each other's hooves later. Changelings that may or may not have made eyes at Coxa, despite the lack of pupils aside, what have the rest of you been up to?
Lacewing spoke up.
I found the weird strain of glow moss in the grain cave today. Instead of giving off lights, it seemed to suck up all the light that came near it.
How's that even Never mind. See if you can get your hooves on some of the stuff.
I say before remembering our present company.
I bet the queen would love to see it. Who knows what uses it could have?
Lacewing scuffed the ground with her hoof.
If it hasn't been thrown into the recycling vats, I'll try.
I saw a flower outside yesterday.
Eshadai had scouting duty 3 weeks a day, meaning he was sent out of the hive far more than any of us combined.
Eshadai, there are no flowers in the drylands.
Coxa said with an eye roll. He stomped his hoof.
I saw one. I swear by Panar that I did. It was tall, a green stem with black thorns coming out the sides.
That's a cactus.
Class wrapped up quickly. Today's lessons were on covertly siphoning emotions from ponies. The actual mechanics of doing so would be taught during the expedition, so like all other massively important lessons, they were saved until the last possible second. Solite did mention the string of emotion, so it was easy to guess that taking emotion would be similar to taking a disguise. We would all learn the specifics later. That got the inner circle talking about the expedition though.
I can't wait! I heard the ponies decorate every inch of their walls in paint and paper.
Lacewing told the group. Tarsus chuckled.
I'm sure you'll get to see plenty of art, Lacewing.
I saw from the corner of my eye Thorax glaring at the ground.
You hide your emotions about as well as something that makes this comparison make sense. Point is, Thorax, if you weren't such a good person, or changeling, I wouldn't touch you with a 39.5-foot pole. Something wrong, Thorax?
I asked instead.
No. Well, I mean, yeah.
He rubs the back of his neck.
Apparently I can't go on the expedition.
I raised an eyebrow at this.
But what do you mean?
Tarsus asked.
Well, apparently Infiltrator's Light says I'm not up to snuff when it comes to, well, lying. She says she, as well as others, are not confident in my ability to uphold the masquerade.
For a split second, I tore my gaze away from Thorax to look at his brother. Pharynx was still facing away from the group, but I saw him wearing a neutral expression. It fit poorly on him, as he normally had a sour, scowling, or irritated look.
That's heartless, Pharynx. Your own brother? Not to worry.
I came to Thorax's rescue before he drowned in pity.
You can keep me company then.
He looked up.
Keep you company? Does that mean?
I'm not going, either.
The 4 changelings capable of conversation gasped. Eshadai instead looked on with an upset expression.
But, you work harder than any of us, and you're not going? Why, Phasma?
I have lessons to keep up, Lacewing. I wish I could go, but I can't shrink my duties.
Tarsus objected.
You work hard enough as is. You deserve this.
Tarsus, that's not how the hive works. We work hard and do our tasks without thanks, without expectations of rewards.
But we...
He stopped himself and half looked at our silent eavesdropper.
The class splits up after the expedition, and I doubt you're going to be placed with an infiltrator to apprentice to, my prince. How are we going to see each other again?
Fuck if I know.
but I'll figure something out.
I gave him a sad smile.
Have faith. It'll all work out in the end.
Our eavesdropper decided to stop being silent when he turned around and walked over in the silence that followed my words. Pharynx tried to hide the emotions he was feeling from showing on his face.
Thorax, let's go on a flight together while there's still daylight left.
Thorax turned to face his brother.
Okay, Pharynx. I'd like that.
The two departed without another word.
So we have 2 weeks left? Then you're gone for good?
Lacewing, I said we'll see each other again. Just trust me.
With a quick glance around to look for anyone within earshot, I added,
We look out for each other, remember? I always keep my word. You'll be down in the Green Cave or with an infiltrator apprentice. You too, Coxa. You'll be with an infiltrator or still in storage inventory. Eshradai will sign up with the guards.
I elbow him in the ribs when I say that, and Eshradai nodded.
Thorax will be somewhere. I'll find him. And don't think I forgot about you, Tarsus. I know you'll be out in the field as an infiltrator. Solite has her eye out on you, so you'll have to find me. And if Coxa and Lacewing do become infiltrators, you'll help with getting in touch with them.
I'm sure I could find reasons to sneak off to speak with you, especially if you have flying lessons right before dusk.
I nodded.
This is just the first obstacle that we face. I have a plan. We will see each other again.
Changing Expectations. Written by KK Slider. Chapter 16. Triumph of the Will. Arc 3. New Swarm. The last 2 weeks in Infiltrator Solite's class flew by faster than any of us wanted. I still had my lessons with Chrysalis, magic lessons with Officer Katydid, and flying lessons with Eucharis outside of class. Tarsus came a few times to the flying lessons, but he couldn't make it for the most part. Eucharis was happy enough to spend the time with me. It was hard to fill in all the silence when flying with him, so I didn't. I used the time to relax. The only time I had mostly to myself during my entire life. I was getting good at flying, unlike magic. Once you get past the workout bit of flying, it's pretty simple. Magic lessons continued. I also started learning more and more combat spells. You have your basic fireballs, your ice lances, your acid cubes, and your electric dodecahedrons. Hey, Katydid found that joke funny. I swear he wasn't laughing because I'm royalty, and he's a suck-up. Soon enough, our last day together arrived. Infiltrator Solite went over expectations, behaviors, and procedures for how the expedition would go down for those attending. By now, the class was down to 10 changelings that would go. Thorax and I continued to attend the class because of our friends, but the rest of the dropouts were long gone. When the teacher wrapped up and wished all of us a good day, the inner circle sat close together in silence. Pharynx had stepped outside to talk with some changeling. I didn't pay attention. I took the small miracle at face value. I opened my mouth to say something, but nothing came to mind. This had been going on for a bit now. If we didn't get this through soon, Eucharis would fetch me before we could even say goodbye.
Well...
Yes?
Tarsus stuttered. I cleared my throat.
I dislike goodbyes, so this is just a see you later.
Coxa also cleared his throat.
Yeah, we'll see each other again?
Of course we will.
Lacewing tackled me with a hug.
I don't want to be alone again, Phasma.
I awkwardly patted the young nymph's back.
Hey now. I said we'll see each other again. Where did this come from?
Come to think of it, I've never seen any changelings hug each other, or kiss, or show any physical affection outside of a hoofshake.
Sorry, it's just... I looked forward to this class every day, and I just felt so sad when you left. Before all this, I had no Ling to hang out with, to talk with, to laugh and tell jokes to. Now, thanks to you, Phasma, I've got you 5.
What? Why not?
Lacewing just held me tighter. Tarsus mouthed the words, "can't fly," to me, and I guessed the rest. Holy shit. This is what Tarsus was talking about? Do changelings really care that much that a single issue like that would... I guess when you all look alike, the slightest deviations paints a target on your back. I know humans pick on each other for the smallest bullshit. Why not changelings?
I said we'll see each other again, Lace. I promise we will, and I always keep my word.
Coxa spoke up.
Ain't you like 5 months old? When have you even given your word?
It's the thought that counts.
Tarsus chuckled.
The way you carry yourself, Phasma. I forget you're not even a year old.
And how old is Lacewing? She's a child, right? I don't recall ever hearing her age. Or Coxa, for that matter. It can't be more than 15. Yet here they are, alone, trying to survive. The group fell back into silence. The section of Hive dedicated to raising plant life is far out of the way from my daily routine. But if Lacewing is this alone, I'll have to make time when they come back. Somehow. I sighed and whispered to Lacewing.
We'll see each other again.
Protect Thorax. Protect Lacewing. Keep in touch with Coxa, Tarsus, and Eshadai. All on top of lessons and whatever duties Chrysalis will inevitably heap onto me. So much to do, so many questions to answer as well.
This is not a goodbye.
She let go and backed up a few steps.
We're more than a family, right?
So young, with no one to watch over her. Who's to blame for this? Chrysalis? She didn't create the broods, her predecessors did. Equestria? I nodded.
Yeah. We're more than brothers and sisters. We're practically a secret society.
I said, trying to distract Lacewing.
And all societies need a cool name.
Like what?
Lacewing asked.
The First Fang.
First Fang.
Lacewing whispered.
I like it.
I would have gone with the companions, but First Fang works too.
Coxa said. Thorax sniffed.
Closer than family, yeah? And don't forget, Franks is an honorary member.
Eshadai spoke up.
Never forget.
Closer than family.
Tarsus summed up. Family. What is family to a changeling? Does Chrysalis even consider me her son? When my attendance in the Infiltrator class came to an end, Chrysalis filled the gap in my schedule with exactly what I was expecting. In fact, I was hedging every last plan, scheme, and hope on her exact action. Well, other than breaking into the vault. It was a week after I had said my farewells to the First Fang. Chrysalis had kept me in her study at the conclusions of her lessons. Normally, this was when Yuchars escorted me down the Hive to the classroom. As Chrysalis wrapped up, she began a speech that I'm certain she had been preparing for at least a week beforehand. Before Hoof. Whatever.
Prince Phasma,
Queen Chrysalis?
your studies are almost complete. You have done well to face the challenges I placed before you.
I knew what was coming next. She had said so once, some time ago. I need a commander, were her exact words. But I never considered the idea that she would actually go through with it. Is this really happening?
But now I am entrusting you to the greatest responsibility I could bestow upon any changeling. Long have I preached the end of Equestria. The infiltrator networks have wormed their way into Canterlot, the sun-touched capital of the presumptuous Pony Empire. It is finally time for you to begin the dream you have been working towards. Prince Phasma, you are a prodigy without equals amongst the Hive, and as such, I am entrusting you with the command of the Changeling Swarm in its mere entirety. The Royal Guard shall keep to my beck and call. The rest of the swarm shall be at your disposal.
She stood up from her seat behind her desk.
Eons past, the Changeling Swarm did battle against the Equestrian Royal Guard. It was on those ancient fields that we were repelled, shattered, sent to the wind. Ever since, Changeling Queens and Kings have discarded the notion that we may be victorious in open combat. That the only way to supply the Equestrians was through subterfuge alone.
Chrysalis walked over to stand in front of me.
But while we have spent the millennia sharpening our fangs, looking outward, the Equestrians have lapsed in their vigils. Too long have they basked in the sunlight of their incandescent princess, and they have suffered for it. Understaffing, poor equipment, tactics as ancient as our own, and complacency played the EUP. The swarm shall strike with a dual-pronged approach. A frontal attack to engage the rear guards, and a second hidden approach that has already suddenly invaded the capital to cut off the head of the snake. I will defeat the Alicorn Princess Celestia. You will defeat the Alicorn Princess Cadence. With them out of the way, and Canterlot in our control, any response Equestria could muster would be ill-equipped to stop us.
Wow, an actual military strategy? I'm pretty sure there's some Sun Tzu in there. And here I was, just expecting her to go and say, "Just win," and send me off.
But first,
Chrysalis continued,
we must discard the ancient tactics that constrain the swarm. You shall reform the swarm to best combat the Royal Guards, as well as begin combat train to take on your Alicorn foe.
When she didn't continue, I took this as my cue to say something. I had predicted this, even prepared a speech for it, but I just never thought this day would ever come. I thought there would be delays, posturing, threats, or more lessons. Yet here we are.
You're giving me control of the swarm? You're not giving me a test beforehand to prove that I'm up to it?
Chrysalis smiled.
Our subjects await in the throne room.
What is going on here? Officer Keated stood at attention with the rest of the officer corps behind the upper court. In total, only 100 changelings were filed into rows, filling up the back 2/3 of the throne room. 100 officers, in charge of the entire changeling swarm, which numbered at least 10,000 of the hive, was levied. More, counting the changelings it would take to staff the logistics required to keep such an army working. The hive could be staffed with only a skeleton crew after all. In front of the officers stood the upper court. Among its numbers were the changelings that frequented this room more than any other. Chamberlain Uchars, Intelligencer Aselli, and Commander Scorpion, to name a few. The entire court had been called to attention, with enchanted relays dedicated to broadcasting the assembly to the rest of the hive. Namely, there were a few, each placed in the largest rooms in the hive, which were filled from wall to wall, including on the walls themselves, with changelings. The door to the royal wing opened, and the entire officer corps saluted as Queen Chrysalis entered, followed by Prince Phasma. The queen wore a green metal crown, inlaid with a hoofful of precious rubies, sapphires, and a single large diamond. The crown matched her armor, a full set of greaves, sabatons, a petrol, and a barrel plate that covered everything above her legs and behind her head. Her elytra were covered up by movable metal coverings, parts of the barrel plate, all made of the same bright green metal. Its source was beyond Officer Katydid's pay grade. Not that he got paid.
The gems must be from the recent infiltrator operations within Cancelot.
Katydid thought to himself. Prince Phasma looked almost naked in comparison. Katydid realized that for most changelings, this was their first time seeing the young prince. He had the honor of teaching the queen's own son for many weeks now. The queen took her place on the throne, with the prince standing up and next to it. The changelings in attendance returned to parade rest as Queen Chrysalis addressed the hive.
My changelings. For too long we have suffered in the dark, while the rest of the world moves on without us. For too long we have endured starvation rations, strict curfews, and a stifling masquerade protocol. You have gathered here today to demand an end to this injustice. It is our right to stand dominant over our prey. The end of Equestria shall be delivered to you by none other than my most loyal changeling, Prince Phasma, heir of the 4th Hive Dynasty. He has trained his entire life for this duty, and he will not fail.
Prince Phasma moved to stand in front of the queen, then knelt in front of her. Queen Chrysalis stood from her throne as a green metal petrol was brought forth from the side. Inset was a line of 9 blue sapphires, growing larger in scale the closer they were to the center. Queen Chrysalis placed the petrol onto Prince Phasma using her magic.
I name you High Marshal Prince Phasma. Rise.
Queen Chrysalis ordered both out loud and through the weave. The prince did as he was commanded.
I entrust the command of the swarm to you, Prince Phasma.
The officer corps had been made aware of this transition for a while now. The Changeling Royal Guard would remain under the authority of Commander Scorpion, and by extent Queen Chrysalis herself, while the rest of the swarm fell to Prince Phasma. Still, control of at least 2/3 of the swarm was nothing to scoff at. High Marshal Prince Phasma turned around and stepped forward. The setting sun filtered in through the open windows on the right side of the throne room. Long shadows were casted by the massive banner tapestries that hung from the rafters of the room, but Officer Katydid thought that Prince Phasma seemed to glow in the setting sunlight.
We are changelings.
Prince Phasma's voice echoed through the room.
For generations, we have dedicated all that we have to the survival of the Hive. This ends today. For now, we shall dedicate every last drop of blood, sweat, and mana to restoring order to the world. We are predators, unrivaled in prowess, unmatched in strength. Our sufferings are an unnatural anomaly that I will right. In our centuries of hiding, we have not been idle. We have honed our skills. We have perfected the art of infiltration. We have learned to fight for our right to rule. We stand united in our thousands. One hive, one queen, one dream. The dawn of a new era shall be upon the world, for we shall take our rightful place at its peak. The sun has set upon Equestria. The hive shall rule eternal.
The High Marshal saluted. All changelings present except Queen Chrysalis returned the salute. The Chamberlain took a step forward.
All hail High Marshal Prince Phasma. All hail Queen Chrysalis. All hail the Hive Eternal.
The Queen smiled and Phasma stood rigid. But Katydid knew Phasma better than almost anyone else present. When he looked at the prince, he didn't see the determined changeling he knew that would step up to the challenges he faced. Right now, Prince Phasma looked lost. As I stood there, The crowd stomped in sync with the hail. Marshal of the entire army. Up to this point, I really didn't think Chrysalis would ever trust me enough to give me this much power. But aside from ominous warnings, what has Chrysalis really done to me? I stepped back next to the throne. Queen Chrysalis was giving another speech, but I was only partially listening. I've never been punished for failure, despite her posturing. For the few steps I made outside of her influence, she has lectured me, but again, never punished. Her military strategy is actually sound. It's pretty much what I would have come up with. We really have a shot at defeating Equestria. I stomped and saluted when the crowd did as well. Sure, she has used my dependency on love to her own gain, but she is really only using it to deliver bad news as well as motivate me. And if I were to go through with a coup, the risks would be death. There are no other princes or princesses. Whatever they did, they're dead now. Yet here I am, pursuing a policy of seizing power despite the risks, despite what Chrysalis is doing to persuade me otherwise. I have little to gain and so much to lose. Chrysalis had finished her speech, and the changelings were marching out of the throne room in 2 neat columns. Then there's the Equestrians. Sure, all this talk about destroying their empire is ominous, but we're literally on the brink of starvation here. The status quo must change, or our species will go extinct. Who wouldn't be considering all options? And who even are the ponies? I've never met one. Never even seen one. If you have to choose between 2 people, which one must suffer, who wouldn't choose to protect their kin? Chrysalis retired to the royal wing, and I absent-mindedly followed her. I entered my room and sat on the bed, staring at the wall across from me. Chrysalis. She makes me paranoid as hell, but gives little reason to actually be paranoid. Maybe she's just shit at parenting, but trying her best, I think. I sighed and put my head in my hooves. Am I really prepared to risk everything? And for what? How much danger am I really in if I obey? Second in command of an empire is a lofty title, and it will come with all the rewards I could want. I've been constantly moving, plotting, scheming, and fearing the worst since my hatching. Evil queens, dark goddesses, separation from my only friends? All these sound terrible, but are they really? Chrysalis isn't evil. She's pursuing what she believes to be an end to the suffering of her people. Nightmare Moon is probably evil. But she doesn't know who I am, where I am, or what I am. The first Fang is separated, but given time, we can easily connect. So why am I only seeing the worst possible outcome? Is it because I want control, that I will see what I want to see to rationalize a seizing of power? I pressed a hoof to my chest. I felt my quick heartbeat despite the thick chitin. I remembered the warm pool that I laid in as the world grew dark. I remembered my heart stopping. I remember my own death. The fear of never seeing my family again. The fear of finding out the great unknown. The fear of what happens after death. Am I really ready to die again? I'm afraid. Afraid of failure. Afraid of dying. So why am I trying to get myself killed? I curled up on my bed. I didn't hear my door open.